Most martial artists and self-defense students spend years obsessing over fighting techniques, but in real violence, the target often matters more than the actual fighting move. In this video, I'm going to show you some of the best fight-ending targets that can shut down an attacker fast before the fight spirals out of control. Let's check it out. "99% of pressure point training is nonsense. People waste time attacking low-value targets that wouldn't stop a drunk uncle at a barbecue, let alone a violent attacker in the streets. And this is the bigger problem. Most martial arts systems have garbage targeting systems that collapse when you need them the most."
Yes, this is all bullshit, just like Wing Chun Kung Fu and JKD.
No way.
It's true. None of it works.
That's one of the things that separates contemporary fighting arts from everybody else. In CFA, targeting is not an afterthought. It's a science. We don't waste time chasing fantasy pressure points that collapse under real-world violence. We focus on anatomical vulnerabilities that actually disrupt, damage, and shut down a dangerous attacker. What I'm going to share with you today are just some of the combat pressure points in my CFA system. Now, if you want to explore my entire targeting system in greater depth, check out my book, Combat Pressure Points, which teaches you how to attack the most vulnerable pressure points in real-world combat. No BS, no theory, just what works. I'll put a link in the description down below. I also have a full-feature instructional video titled Pressure Point Fighting, which covers real-world targeting for self-defense. You can find it on my website at sammyfranco.com. And if you're a War Machine Elite member, you can watch it for free inside the members-only section of this channel. And if you're not already a member, hit the join button below and check out all the different membership options we have available. Before we start, understand this. Pressure point fighting is a massive subject, and anyone who tells you they can cover the whole thing in one short video is either lying to you or doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. So today, I'm only going to focus on just a few fight-ending targets. The eyes are ideal pressure point targets because they're extremely sensitive and difficult to protect from an attack. Best of all, striking them requires very little force. The eyes can be poked, scratched, and gouged from a variety of different angles. Depending on the force and angle of attack, eye trauma can cause watering of the eyes, severe pain, blurred vision, internal bleeding, temporary or permanent vision loss, retinal injury, rupture of the eyeball, and severe physical shock. Because eye attacks can cause permanent vision damage, they should only be used when the threat is legally justified in the eyes of the law. Like the eyes, the ears are extremely sensitive to attack. The opponent's ears can be punched, popped, and torn. When struck with a moderate amount of force, their eardrum will easily rupture. Striking the ear can also result in percussive shock, extreme pain, partial or complete loss of hearing, bleeding, disorientation, and loss of balance. I'm pleased to announce that my new book, Shut Up and Learn: The Brutal Truth About Self-Defense, Street Fighting, and Martial Arts, is now officially available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle editions. You can scan the QR code on the screen or use the Amazon link in the description down below to get your copy today. This book teaches you how to think, train, and fight for real-world violence. You'll learn how to recognize the difference between fantasy-based martial arts and functional combat, how to identify dangerous training mistakes, and how to understand the psychology of violent encounters, and more importantly, how to develop the kind of practical fighting skills that actually work when it matters the most. This book was written for people who want the truth about real-world self-defense. No belts, no rituals, no nonsense. The temple is a vulnerable region on the side of the skull, where several cranial bones come together, including the frontal, parietal, temporal, and sphenoid bones. Because this area is relatively thin and close to the brain, a powerful strike to that region can cause serious head trauma. Attacks to the temple should only be used in self-defense situations where deadly force is legally and morally justified. The nose is made up of thin bone, cartilage, numerous blood vessels, and many nerves. It's a particularly good target because it stands out from the face and can be struck from 3 different directions: upward, straight, and downwards. A moderate blow can cause stunning pain, eye-watering, temporary blindness, and hemorrhaging. A powerful strike can result in shock and unconsciousness. The chin is also a great pressure point target for unarmed combat. When the chin is struck at the proper angle with sufficient force, the impact can rapidly rotate or accelerate the head, disrupting brain function and potentially causing a knockout, concussion, or temporary loss of consciousness. Depending on the force of the blow, other possible injuries include broken jaw, concussion, and whiplash to the assailant's neck. Also remember that a knockout can become deadly if the person falls and strikes their head on concrete or another hard surface. Hey, we're about to get back into the video, but let me ask you something. Do you want to legitimately accelerate your self-defense skills? And are you sick of clickbait videos teaching absolute garbage? Or tired of being misled by unqualified wannabe experts who have zero credibility or experience? If the answer is yes, now is the time to join my War Machine memberships. As a member, you're going to get exclusive access to in-depth training videos, exclusive full-feature video content, downloadable training PDFs, and direct insights you're not going to find anywhere else. Plus, you're going to have direct access to me in the comments section of all my videos. So if you have questions, you're going to get real, detailed answers from me and not some random keyboard warrior. So if you're serious about mastering real-world combat skills, hit the join button below and start training like a true war machine. Now, let's get back to the lesson. The back of the neck protects the cervical spine, which consists of the first 7 vertebrae of the spinal column. This region protects the spinal cord and major nerve pathways that carry signals between the brain and the body. The back of the neck is a lethal pressure point target because the vertebrae are poorly protected. A very powerful strike to the back of the assailant's neck can cause shock, unconsciousness, a broken neck, complete paralysis, coma, and death. For obvious reasons, this is not an ordinary self-defense target. Attacking the back of the neck should only be considered in life and death circumstances where your use of force is legally and morally justified in the eyes of the law. The throat is considered a lethal pressure point target because it has minimal protection and contains the larynx, thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, trachea, major blood vessels, and airway structures. A direct and powerful strike to this region can cause severe pain, airway obstruction, internal bleeding, swelling, unconsciousness, asphyxiation, and death in extreme cases. The throat is one of the most dangerous targets on the human body, and it should only be attacked in a life and death self-defense situation where deadly force is legally and morally justified. Now, those are just some of the primary fight-ending targets, but there are also many secondary pressure point targets that can also be used to create pain, structural disruption, and temporary openings during a violent encounter. In my book, Combat Pressure Points, I go much deeper into these secondary targets, and I explain how they fit into the complete targeting system as well as probable reaction dynamics. The goal is not to memorize a bunch of little pain points. The goal is to understand how vulnerable areas of the body can be attacked under real pressure with real force against a real threat. Before I wrap this up, understand something important. Combat pressure point targets can produce real medical consequences. Some of these targets can cause serious injury, permanent damage, unconsciousness, or even death. That's why I'm constantly emphasizing to you guys, you must understand use of force. These targets are not for showing off, proving a point, or casually hurting someone. They're for serious self-defense situations where your actions are legally and morally justified. And this is another area where most martial arts fail. That's right, fail. They teach techniques, but they rarely explain what those techniques can do to the human body or how those consequences affect you legally. In contemporary fighting arts, anatomical targeting and consequence go together. That's the difference between fantasy training and responsible combat science. So there you have it, a few fight-ending targets that produce real consequences. Again, this is not mystical nonsense. This is not death touch fantasy. This is not goofy pressure point material where somebody taps a wrist and pretends the attacker is going to collapse like a lawn chair. Real combat pressure points are based on anatomy, vulnerability, force, timing, and the brutal reality of what happens when violence explodes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next video.
From the ancient Colosseum, where gladiators lived and died, to the storm-torn seas, where iron met flesh upon shattered decks, to the battlefield, where wrath carved kingdoms in blood, bone, and steel, we follow the War Machine. War Machine Chronicles celebrates the warrior archetype, the ethos society seeks to suppress, to soften, to erase. From the age of iron and blood, where warriors roared defiance in the face of death, to all men who still feel the war drum beat beneath their skin, written for fighters, soldiers, and survivors. For those who still walk the edge, it is transformation, forged to harden the mind, discipline the body, and sharpen the will. War Machine Chronicles, not just a book, it's a sacred codex of wrath. Over 300 pages, more than 100 haunting illustrations, combat verse, and lethal philosophy forged by Sammy Franco. War Machine Chronicles, not just a story, but a weapon. It teaches, it tests, it transforms. War Machine Chronicles, available now on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle.